What's going on, y'all? We are back again for another episode review of Real Housewives of Atlanta season 9 episode. Um, is this 14? Yeah, loose lips sink ships. Bitch, what type of lips? I guess both sets, bitch. Listen. The first part of this episode got me. I'm sitting here like, y'all gotta stop with this fuck shit because I'm intrigued, okay? Because at one point I said, bitch, I want to see it, all right? Where's the tape? Where's the footage, okay? This is when the producers needed to be around and to catch all this shit so we can be like, God damn, give you one of the charade, like, okay? Because I sure enough was sitting here like, bitch, what? Okay, so, it's the last day of the glamping trip. Everybody is getting ready to go. Candy said, fuck y'all. I'm tired. I don't want to deal with you bitches after what happened the night before. So, it is what it is. I'm finna get me a new car, and I'm not getting on the bus with y'all. We finna roll out. So that's what wound up happening. So, eventually everybody gets together. She tells Cynthia, happy birthday to Cynthia. Anyway, by the way, I should say, 50 years old. The bitch look bad. Can't deny that shit. Okay? But she gets in the car, she tells them that she's getting a separate car. She got some other stuff to do because she do have to take a plane or some shit like that. I don't know. So, everybody else get on the bus. Child, they was going in on Portia about the whole thing. And, Kenya was saying stuff. And I appreciate the fact that they were just joking about it. They wasn't trying to come down on nobody. They wasn't, trying to get heated with it. Portia took it in stride and, she laughed along and all that stuff. Because at that point, what else can you do? It was said. It is what it is at this point. So, Cynthia gets to her house, First of all, fuck the Uber or Lyft driver who told you that they weren't going to go down that driveway, okay? First of all, I'm sitting here like, Cynthia, at this point, the way that you struggling with them bags, just let that shit just go ahead and roll down, okay? Just let it go and let it fly. You got enough money to, get you a new set at this point because mama was struggling. But, baby, she gets up in the house, okay, her assistant is there, we got Noelle sitting there, hey mom, how you doing? And it's like, you guys got a lot of stuff done. We see her little bin, Walmart bins with the clothes in it and all that shit. I said, girl, we the same, okay, because I'm waiting on my dress and all that shit, so my shit in fucking bins too, bitch. All right, we connecting on that part, ain't no shame in your game. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do till you get your shit in there, all right? At that moment, Cynthia proceeds to sit down and talk to Noelle and the assistant or whatever about what happened on the trip. Okay? She was like, girl, we was at the last dinner and then all of a sudden Marlo came out here and say, Candy, when you gonna stop being a lesbian or come out and say you're a lesbian or some shit like that? Noelle was like, but she's married, so how can she be? I said, girl, I forgot that you still young. Okay, you'll be 18 probably in a couple of years or so. You know what I'm saying? Year 2. Girl, you going to college, you'll understand. Let me tell you something. And for those who don't, just because a bitch is married, male or female, does not mean that they not gay and does not mean that they not a lesbian. That means that, hey, they probably got married because they suppressing it, or because they, was forced into getting married, or they scared of their parents and they never came out and they hiding it, and that's why you get bitches on the DL, and I'm talking about male and females. Now, do I feel like Candy is a lesbian? No, Candy probably just did want to dabble, okay? I put it out there and say she probably just bisexual, she just probably play around sometimes. That's it. I really don't see nothing wrong with it. Hey, if she like it and Ty like it, who the fuck are we to judge, okay? But, because Candy put it out there, hey, I dibbled and dabbled a couple of times, so, who fuck what? I'll tell you what it is. I was like, all right. So, Cynthia was like, it's a whole bunch of us that, probably did some stuff at that table. Noelle in the system is perked up like, bitch, what you talking about? You too? She was like, I was a model and shit, so, we kissed the girl, and then I had a girl kind of like almost eat me out or some shit. Noelle was like, bitch, what? That's how her reaction was. The assistant was like, girl, hold on. You don't need to be hearing this shit. Because then at this one point, Cynthia took it a little bit too far because this is your child. But I was still here for the whole conversation. I thought it was funny and I thought it was cute that they was able to talk like this around each other. And that goes to show that, Cynthia is kind of open with her child so that she can have an open mind. And you can make your own decision and shit like that. But it's still an age thing. And I was like, Cynthia really in a little bit because she said, I slept over there at Candy House and had I known that she was like this shit, I probably would have let her, eat me out or some shit too. I said, bitch, I wasn't expecting that. But okay, jokes all around. It was cute. Then we get to, Candy. Candy go back to the crib, well, to the candy factory. You got Kwame, Karma, and you got Don Juan. Todd is there. Todd, he working on the old lady gang restaurant. The shit still ain't open, and he was like, it's supposed to be opened up within the month, and he just tired. Okay, he just fucking tired. I would rather them take as much time as they need to get this restaurant completely 100% done, inspections and everything, so that you can get it 100% right. All right, so you won't have to open it up, then shut it down to go fix this and fix that, but whatever. So at this moment in time, this is where Candy sit there and tell them about what happened and how, Portia was the one that said this. But bitch, go the fuck back when they was on the bus. Sheree said, this whole time I'm sitting here thinking, when the fuck was Phaedra gonna speak up? Okay? Phaedra better be glad they didn't get in on her ass, because she was like, if my friend was seeing me getting railroaded, she would have jumped in and said some shit and had my back. Mind you, Phaedra was like, when she asked that question, I was like, she can't say me, because I do not recall. I wasn't there. I said, bitch, you was the one that said Shamia was fucking Candy. And if Shamia was fucking Candy, unless this a dildo, that's how that'll work. Usually it's probably fingers like that, or it's like this, you know what I'm saying? Or it's like that. Okay, I just gave y'all a little mini sex education with lesbian sex. Okay, y'all got that shit. But anyway, or it's tongues. Y'all figure that shit out. Go look at some porn. I'm just saying. I'm sitting here like, Phaedra, get the fuck. Oh yeah, Shamia was up in this movie. Well, it was a YouTube movie, and it was kind of cute, called Damaged Good. Check it out. It's kind of cute. I said, oh, okay, Shamia. It's only like 38 minutes long or some shit like that. It just popped up on my YouTube. But whatever. So after that, Candy started talking about the whole thing and how it was Portia that said something. And she was like, mind you, I had my own experience with Portia. And Ty said, hell yeah, we all three did. And Ty was sitting there like this. And I said, wait a minute, so y'all really fucked? And then she was like, nah, girl, we was in the club one day. Okay, and it was dark and all that shit. We was drunk and fucking all that shit. Next thing you know, I'm behind Portia. Well, Portia was in front of me. Ty was behind me. Next thing you know, we kissed. Well, Portia kissed me. Common was like, was it tongue? She was like, it was tongue. I said, oh, because bitch, you wanted that shit too. When you put the tongue in there, you wanted that shit too. When you don't, you keep them lips clipped like, bitch, what? No, you invited that tongue to come. So I was like, okay. And so she said, girl, next thing you know, Portia in my ear talking about some, I want to eat your pussy until you come. I said, and she said, because we already know Portia dibbles and dabbles with girl all the time. Mind you, when she first said that, I was sitting here thinking like, y'all remember Portia used to be a little preacher? And she had that whole, remember that they tried to get Portia caught up because it was a little clip of her going in on homosexuals, the homosexual lifestyle and preaching and shit. I said, oh, okay. I said, all right, do what you do. I said, all you bitches got secrets and shit. So now they gonna meet up because she needs to talk to her. So Kenya invited Cynthia and Mallory to come to this place to get their pussy tightened, as she said. I'm finna let you guys get your pussy tightened. It's vaginal rejuvenation and stuff like that. Kenya said she didn't need it. She never had that many men's and, all that shit. Hey, good for you. And she was like, girl, you about to turn 50 years old. You done had a baby a long time ago. And now when you do this shit, you're going to have double the orgasms and it's going to be better. Cindy was like, hey, fuck it, I'll give it a try. I said, all right, y'all do what y'all got to do. Now, when that thing first went up in Cynthia, them toes kind of clenched. I said, girl, is you enjoying it or what? The fucking montage that they put up with the flowers blooming and the butterflies. I said, get the... Bravo be fucking trying them. Okay. Then after that, we see Phaedra. She's going to a lawyer's office or whatever, saying that the divorce between her and Apollo is finalized. That I don't feel like it's not necessarily true because it's some more shit that came out saying that, and see, this is what makes it so dumb when Mama Joyce came up there trying to, talk about if a person is in jail, they can get a divorce within 60 days, and then for Candy to repeat the same thing, because there's so much shit that's going on within this fucking relationship in the process of getting this divorce that I think something came out saying that technically it's not really finalized yet, or some shit. Like, it was some more stuff that came out within this past week, or I should say last week about this shit. It's just, and they don't serve him in jail, so Phaedra said she gonna go up there and tell him herself. So Candy, she lets us know that Riley has a passion for music just like she does, and that, she took a whole bunch of the stuff that Riley been telling her and Riley been going through, and she wrote it into a song for Riley, which is basically a diss track to her father. And that's quite understandable, and given the words, because I heard snippets of it, it was on Riley's Instagram earlier this week, and I think she said that it was coming out the full song today, doing Real Housewives of Atlanta. I don't know, but you're not supposed to talk about kids, and I'm not going to talk about this child. The song in itself is cute, and it's very relatable because it's a lot of us who's out here who had, parents, mostly, unfortunately, mainly fathers or whatever, who have been such a disappointment to us, who said they're going to do something with us, but then don't do it. They showed back saying that time when Riley came on here talking about she was going to meet up with her daddy, that shit never really happened, or it's been a while since something else happened afterwards, and she was just like, she's fucking over it, okay? And that's so fucking understandable. So I commend her on that shit. Like, Riley is not 14. Riley been here before. For a while, okay? You can't tell me no different. That girl got to be at least almost 21, okay? I don't know. But, I don't know. I think Riley has a shot, like she's an introvert, I feel like. Or she just don't like to be on camera. And it feels that way, the way she talks, and every time Candy asks her a question is, oh, no, okay. Yeah, it's like that. So it's like she don't really want to talk about it on camera with all these people around her, so she probably shy at that point. Candy tell her to get her ass in a boot. Baby, I'm like, Candy, are you pushing your child? Do Riley really want to do this? Or is it you pushing her to do it? Because when she got in that booth, I'm sorry, Candy can't really sing to me. Okay, she never really could. To be quite honest, I don't know how she was the lead singer of Escape. We can be honest with ourselves, okay? We can be honest. Let's be honest. No shades of Candy. Candy is a bomb-ass business person, but singer, I do not put her in nobody top nothing, okay? Bomb-ass songwriter, producer, all that shit, but singer, no. And Riley is the same thing. I feel as though Riley, if she wants her to take this career seriously, she needs to go and do the work. Meaning, go put her, don't just because your mama is Candy and she got the resources and all that stuff, and there's a booth right there, go ahead and just put a song out. No, your baby needs some vocal training. Ain't nothing wrong with a little vocal training, a little practice or whatever, and then let her work on getting, emoting the words through her song, because I felt nothing. That's a powerful song, the lyrics and all, but when you put her in the booth, there is no emotional feeling behind it. So it's like, are you just singing the words that your mom is just feeding you, And I feel like if she works on that, she probably can do something, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to count her out. I'm just going to say it's a no for right now. So moving on from that, Phaedra go over there to Portia house. Portia finally got her new house, whatever. They talking about, bitch, when she said, you know what I like, she said, get you a little Henny, get you a little drunks before you try to get me cut up with me or some shit. I said, y'all Phaedra and Portia didn't fuck before. You can't tell me no different. Then they started talking about Apollo. She told him about the divorce and how he kind of went off or whatever. But she said, y'all, you had a girlfriend. You've had a girlfriend for a long time, so why are you upset? Which I don't understand either. If you had a girlfriend, which you do, who is now your so-called fiance, why are you upset about this divorce being finalized or getting a divorce, period? Shouldn't you be ready to sign them papers like Apollo on that fuck shit? But anyway, it is what it is. So Cynthia's about to get ready to do a little fashion show, whatever, for her cargo fashion line. And she wanted to talk to the guy, her partner, whatever, and see if, you can get Cairo in on it. So they meet up with Sheree. And Sheree, you know, she has her concern because they're not getting paid. Cynthia said, no money, but we'll give him a backpack. Sheree said, what? Sheree thought she was going to get at least 3 of them bitches. One for her, one for a dog, and one for Cairo. Bitch, no. One backpack. I would have looked at Cynthia too like, I don't care if you a startup company. You could at least gave him $50, all right? But hey, to each his own, I feel like Cynthia is doing this as a favor to Sheree. That's what it is. But, they're going to work that out. And then Sheree did have demands and stuff, or, concerning King, she do it on the weekend and not during the weekday because he's still in school and all that shit. But the stuff what Cynthia was saying, you walking in a Calvin Klein or these other top name designers fashion show or whatever, you can't dictate what day it is that they do it just because you have other obligations or you in school or whatever. You have to choose, it's up to the designer, and that's up to you to say whether or not you're going to do it or not. This is you don't get too many first chances and all that stuff, first impressions and shit like that. But moving on from that, Portia meets up with Todd. And her thing is she trying to figure out what it is that Todd is doing because, a few weeks back, Todd quit his job because of, I guess, the relationship that he had with Portia. Portia was upset about it. And, some people was feeling the type of way that Portia kind of came at him. But my thing is this. You really got fired or let yourself go, decided to let a job go over a person that you're not even in a real relationship with. And my thing about that is you also have children yourself who you still got to pay child support and all this stuff and provide for. Okay? That was my thing. So that's where I was coming from and agreeing with Portia on that part. But the motherfucker is just so goddamn goofy. And he's just sitting there like, well, I got fired, so I'm just, we need to chill and all this stuff. She was like, no, nigga, you got fired. That don't mean that you chill. That means let's go find another job. You damn near 40 years old. You have 2 other boys to take care of, okay? Get off your ass and go find a job, all right? Gonna spend some money buying her a necklace and shit. You should have gave that to your child, But, hey, it is what it is. I don't even take that situation even serious because it's like, whatever, Portia. So Candy and Portia meet up. They tried to make small talk before Candy said, fuck this shit. So what the fuck it is? You was the main one leading the charge about me being in the closet. Well, I was the main bitch, like, who it was. But to be quite honest with you, I didn't know that that's what it was. I can't remember every little conversation that I have or whatever. And I didn't even think that was something that was going to evoke so much emotion and stuff out of people and all that shit. Like, that was little shit. But when I said it, I owned up to it. And I was trying to be shady with it. That's why I said it. It's not like I'm going out here spreading your business to everybody and their mama like you did about me and Block to Sheree and all that shit. I said, pause. Okay. So, Portia, I'll give you that benefit of a doubt that you didn't know because like I said last week, I was not thinking about that one either. I was thinking about Phaedra finna get called out for saying that Shamia and Portia was fucking. No, Shamia and Candy was fucking. So I'll give you a little bit of benefit of the doubt about that shit. But like Candy said, girl, you say stuff, but you can't even, it takes you a minute to own it. I mean, eventually you owned it. We don't know how long they was, filming and stuff, but she did own it and say that, hey, I was trying to be shady, and that's what it was. Okay, fine. But, Candy said she brings up a lot of stuff and she tried to cover it up with lies and all this shit before she eventually go ahead and say, yeah, I did it and all that stuff. Baby, they start getting into, well, you did this, and Candy was like, everybody know I had a dibbled and dabbled or whatever. I had experience with a girl. You the one that's living in secret. Me in secret? Yes, you in secret, bitch. You the one doing this. You tongue kissed me in the mouth. You did this. Bitch, you the one that got a fucking girlfriend for 7 years. Now, when she said that, I said, hold up. I was with Candy like, 7 goddamn years? What? What? And you know what? For some reason, I can buy it, but at the same time, I really don't believe it. Okay, I just think both of them are throwing shit out there, but I'm more prone to believe Candy shit because Candy put out a video. I remember when we first saw the first trailer for the whole season, and Candy did like this Facebook Live thing with some magazine or whatever, and she literally put every detail out there. So I'm more prone to believe Candy's side on this shit, but she was talking, we get back into talking about Block and how who said who had sex. She was like, bitch, I didn't tell Sheree that you had sex with him, but you told me that you had sex with him. Hell, bitch, you was telling me all type of positions and all this stuff. Now you trying to act like you don't know, okay? How would I know what type of shit y'all had on going on when I don't talk to that motherfucker, but I'm talking to you? And I was like, true, okay. Point on that one. And so Portia trying to say they had a sex dungeon, all that shit. Candy said, I have a sex dungeon. Bitch, if I had a sex dungeon, I wouldn't be afraid to say, oh, bitch, I got one. I'd be letting everybody know, like, come see. And I said, you know what? To be quite honest, I'm believing you, Candy, because listen, you so hype about them, what is it, bedroom candies and shit, so I don't feel like when it comes to sex, she got anything to fucking hide. Like she said, she done fucked around with a bitch before. Okay, I don't see nothing wrong with that. But when Portia said, when I'm single and whoever I want to do things with, that's one thing. But then you being married and you bringing other people in your bed and all that stuff, that's totally different. No, it's not different. And I'm going to tell you why it's not different. Because you single and you're giving consensual sex to somebody. And if she's in, they having threesomes or whatever, that's because Todd and Candy both said yes to that. And that is what they're doing. Okay? So ain't no different. And you can't look down and shame on that, because if that's the arrangement that they have and they're all cool with it, all parties are fine with it, what's to be ashamed of it? Nothing. Okay? So why are you judging? All right? And Candy put it out there, yeah, me and my husband had a threesome with somebody one time. Okay, and I don't see what's wrong with it. Y'all still fucking together, so who cares? Okay? I was just waiting for the big secret until she said, bitch, you had a bitch for 7 years. I said, girl, what? Me and Candy said, bitch, stop playing. Child, Portia and her got... Candy said, bitch, first of all, you lying. Portia said, no, the fuck I'm not. The bitch said that she was in a relationship with you and she was telling everybody, and she said you broke it off when people start finding out. Candy was like, bitch, come with some information that you actually know the facts for. These are the facts, bitch. And let me tell you something about your husband, ho. Okay, your husband, he was out there last week with a bitch calling himself Marvin so he can cheat. Ask him about that when he went to New York, okay? Ask him about that. All right, this shit don't just go on in your bedroom and go on outside. I said, hold up, y'all doing too goddamn much, okay? And I'm with Candy on this only because if you gonna say some shit, please present the facts so I can believe that shit. I mean, evidence. I need some receipts. Like, girl, did you get this shit on camera? She was like, bitch, I give you the bitch information, okay? I said, oh, give it to her right now so we can see this shit. Like, I need some fucking receipts before I can just go ahead and be like, Portia telling the truth, okay? Because it's just, I don't know. I don't know who y'all believe in, Portia or Candy. But bitch, it was like, you know what? You the one that wanted to eat my pussy. Bitch, I ain't want to eat your rotten ass pussy. Bitch, my pussy tastes like sugar. What the fuck you talking about? First of all, I don't want no I'm a little T-cut short and stout ass shit. Bitch, you ain't even my fucking type. When she said that shit, I like to fucking die. The white lady behind them was sitting there like this. That would have been me the whole damn time, okay? Like, he going, this shit is too good. This shit is too... Y'all out here acting a fool, bitch. Okay? Candy said, fuck you and got the fuck up, okay? She was like, bitch, I can't even deal. Next time you want to come at me with some facts and some goddamn receipts. I said, oh, shit. Okay? Toodles, bitch. I was like, all right, y'all got to stop this bullshit. Candy said, you ain't shit but a fucking pass around. Because Portia was like, bitch, everybody know about all the rappers and groups and shit that you done fucked around with. And I said, damn, because that was a whole bunch of shit going on back in the day. I remember a lot of those rumors saying that Candy was with this person, that person, that person. No shade, okay? But Candy was like, bitch, how the fuck did you meet up with Block? Because you knew this rapper, that knew this rapper. You fucked this rapper, that rapper, got the Block. And I said... So y'all really just gonna sit here and spill each other tea like this, whether it's false or true? I'm here for it. Y'all tell me how y'all felt about it, okay? Who you prone to believe? Are you believing Portia or are you believing Candy, or do you think both of them full of shit? I think both of them full of shit, but I'm leaning more so towards Candy on this shit, okay? Y'all tell me and I'll see y'all later. Peace.